Well, it's good to know, isn't it, that the BBC is able to apologise to Mr. Farage and to apologise about getting the report wrong, because they claimed initially, after the fellow had been talking to a CEO, some sort of boss from Coutts, that Mr. Farage's account was closed because he hadn't come up to the requisite amount of money that he should have had in his account. And that turned out not to be the case. It turned out that Coutts had actually produced a document about Farage in which they did some sort of character description of him, a character assassination of him. It may or may not have been reasonable. That's not the point of my comment here. The point of my comment here is that the BBC said one thing confidently, and when quite the opposite thing was said, what Farage had claimed, that he was cancelled because because he was perceived to be a politically exposed person, that seems to have been justified by the document that he received. And on Monday, the BBC said in its corrections and clarifications website, so I mean it's a bit of a shame that it didn't do this immediately online and on air, we acknowledge that the information we reported that Coutts' decision on Mr. Farage's account did not involve considerations about his political views turned out not to be accurate, and we have apologised to Mr. Farage. When Coutts decided to close Farage's accounts, he said it did not give him a reason. At the time, Farage told Radio 4 that the BBC had fallen for spin and that he'd been cancelled for his political views. When Farage got hold of that document, that seemed to be confirmed. The 40-page document that Mr. Farage got included minutes from a meeting in November that reviewed his account. And he was flagged as xenophobic and racist, and the organisation insisted it had a position as an inclusive organisation. Well, that's sort of just words, isn't it? It doesn't mean very much. And the boss, the NatWest Group boss, Dame Alison Rose, has apologised for deeply inappropriate comments. But she hasn't given back the account, which is really what she should have done, because that apology means absolutely nothing without returning the account. Whether he would want the account now is an entirely different matter. He's called Coutts vile, I think. But nevertheless, I think it should be offered, on the understanding that he probably won't accept it. But an apology without some sort of gesture to repair the damage is not really an apology. And offering Mr. Farage simply a basic account and not offering to sort out and support his business account. What is it? Didn't he have a business account, something about thorn in the side or something? I mean, maybe his whole raison d'etre is simply to create trouble. But it's not up to the bank to make a judgment about that. That's for the people. That's for his listeners, the people who voted him in and voted him out of his position as an MEP, and who listened to him on GB News, and that's their job, not the job of the bank. And the BBC should make sure that what it reports is accurate. And, journalism is a very shaky science. 9 times out of 10, the story is correct, but that 1/10, it's very easy to get the story wrong. It's very easy to get the wrong angle, and everything is so quick. And I certainly don't think I've got everything right, and I hope that I hope I don't cause too much offence by getting things wrong. But Equally, I hope that I'm never considered to be guilty of being consistent. I think being consistent is one of these absurd notions that has been imposed on people in the last 20 years. Consistency is not a virtue. Inconsistency in changing your mind is the virtue. So there we are. Farage has got some sort of apology.